Thank you all for making an hour to be with us today because we're pretty excited about today's show. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, the VEG Group, thank you, Frank Zappa, for the VEG song. The VEG Group is the virtual events group. We are a community of stakeholders who are devoted to exploring technology to determine how we'll meet and where we'll meet and do business in the future. That covers everything from sustainability to climate, from video technologies to AI tools to the metaverse. And we hope that you will not make yourself a stranger, participate with us, contribute to our weekly newsletter, sign up for our weekly newsletter, and join us as members. There are benefits that we can get into. As always, I'm going to start with a little housekeeping. First of all, you see today's agenda, and we will come back to that in a minute. We just came back from Augmented World Expo, where we ran two sessions that are actually worth looking at. One is a debate on should college be virtual. We had a guy that has, Stephen Grubbs, who you may have met on the show before, has designed 150 virtual campuses. And John Katzman, who runs a high-tech education company, but did not believe that virtual college was a replacement for real college. It's a fabulous debate. And we took the audience temperature before and after. And then we had another debate on AI and whether it will change the world. And it turned out that this was a debate with themselves because everybody was super conflicted, but the panelists are wonderful, including the fabulous Louis Rosenberg, who believes that we should all be getting some sort of universal basic income for what we contribute to the collective consciousness of large language models. Moving on, upcoming, we are working at Comms Week. Comms Week are communications professionals, and they want to understand new tools for engaging. We have a great virtual events group discount rate to share with any member who wants to show their wares in Austin, Texas this fall. And then we'll be at Toy Fair, looking in particular at how AI and the creator economy are spurring new innovation in the toy industry this fall. Lots more coming up that we'll share with you as we go on. We are going to meet in July just because I think it's a really good time for us to think about the pandemic as it recedes further each day and as life goes back to normal. I think it's so important to ask ourselves, what is a new normal? What did we gain? What did we lose? And we've kind of put together a fun compilation reel of life in those pandemic days, the cats, the goat yoga people, the naked people, the Obamas, the graduation. So if you have ideas that you'd like to see memorialized, let us know. And we have some great speakers who actually are all a little worried that the more things change, the more we run the risk that they might go back to pre-pandemic or before times era. So, and finally, before we introduce Felix Zeltner and our great speakers today, thought we'd take your temperature on how you feel about community, because community is both, it's an investment of your time, and your time is always precious to all of us. And it's an investment that we hope that you get a payback. So I'm going to put up a few poll questions, and if you open up your chat window and just put the answer in the chat rather than take time to do any other weird polling. Question 1, are you a member of a community online? And just 1, 2 or 3, 5 or more. Are you an addicted community person? And we'll take a look in that chat room. And we're seeing a lot of 3s. And Felix will talk more about what are those communities, internal, external, physical, virtual. But I'm seeing a good 3, which sort of like telephone numbers, the most you can remember are 7 numbers. Communities, I get the feeling that the best you could do are 3. Next, On a scale of 1 to 5, how are you doing in those communities? Barely involved? Or are you running the whole thing? Let us know, sort of just type your number into the chat room of level of involvement. I'm seeing some active 4s. I'm seeing all over the place. I'm seeing some 3s. I'm seeing a learner, which is a great answer, and highly involved. So again, I think it's hard to be a fully active, engaged member of every community you're in. So it's great to pick and choose where you can be. What motivates you to join a community? Is it a personal passion? Is it learning a brand new skill? Is it keep furthering your job skills, or is it networking? And we're going to talk about that. But again, great to have your answers in the chat room. And we're seeing a lot of people thinking. We're seeing all of the above: personal passion, business. Again, really important to think about, when you commit, whether it's the book club or the office hours, what is the level of involvement and what do you want to get out of it? I can tell you that the people who are all going to be with you today are all people I met during the pandemic and struck up fairly close relationships with. So I'm a big believer that community, especially in the virtual world, works. And finally, have you ever led a community? So if you are a community leader, let's see what we got here. We have yes for years from Howard, and yes from John Idelson, and yes from Susan Sobel. Yes to Alfred Poor, and Felix. Yes, that is a good level set. And we really want you to jump in. We want to leave a lot of room for questions for you. Again, we want you to sign up for our newsletter. And finally, and I'll put this up at the end, if you want more resources about community, about who's a voice in the community, about what kinds of things are out there that you should be looking at, from platforms to authors you should read, you can snap the code. It will also be on our website, but more community voices. So with that, I'm going to take a moment to introduce somebody who's become an exceptionally close friend, and that is Felix Zeltner. And he's going to be your moderator today because I think everybody has a secret gift in life, and I think his is actually listening and moderating. And I think that during the pandemic, he started something incredibly important. Nobody realizes when you're making history, you don't realize that you're in it. But we were robbed of community during the pandemic, and we were kind of on our own. And for humans who are tribal by nature, that was kind of a tough one. So we found all sorts of new ways of doing things. And those of you who are old enough to remember, community is not new. You had AOL, and CompuServe, and Prodigy. You had the Well. You've had tremendous communities be a source of inspiration for a long time. I'm sure you can add to my list. But I really want to turn this over to Felix to introduce the rest of the panelists and to talk to you about his personal journey into community, because it's pretty extraordinary. Felix, thanks for being here.
Robin, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the very, very kind intro. I have the honor to host today's roundtable about community building. I'm a journalist by craft and the founder and CEO of Remote Daily, which started in a pandemic. Robin just said it. Many people here are builders, many people are community builders, and many of us started something new in the pandemic. Ours evolved from a daily live show into an agency that helps organizations all around the world to build community through live virtual experiences. Our secret sauce, our ingredients are journalism, live music, mindfulness, lots of interactivity, and a lot of preparation, which I think to this day is what makes many virtual gatherings so miserable, a lack of preparation. I believe community building that starts virtually is essential. And as Robin just said, it is turning into a profession. It is turning in an industry. And as always, Robin, you're ahead of the curve. You're understanding earlier so many things that are becoming a thing. This group has always been identifying and discussing things long before they land in the mainstream. I'm really, really honored to be a part of it. I have been a speaker here. I've been an attendee many times. I learned so many things from you, Robin, and from this group, from this community. And I can't wait to hear your questions in the chats. Your comments today are crucial for us. And I, invite you for the next 30 minutes to be an active part of this. And if you haven't, by the way, switched off your microphone yet, you may want to do so. It's still a Zoom meeting. We're all on eye level. So just reminding you of that. And now allow me to introduce you to our guests. We won't start with Denise, because Denise is going to share a little bit of a presentation with us. I'm actually going to start with Jerry. Community is the new moat for building brand, engaging customers, developing products, and retaining employees. That's what it says on Jerry's LinkedIn of his community. Yet the community stack is incredibly lagging and fragmented. And Jerry knows firsthand, former Amazonian and Groupon employee. He started a meetup for techies in 2016, which turned into ELC, a community with now around 8,000 engineering leaders from San Francisco to 100 plus cities around the world. And then in 2021, there we are again, Jerry, pandemic businesses. He started out to solve this problem that he describes himself, and founded Gradual, an all-in-one community platform that is now being used by some of the biggest events and companies out there in tech who have identified community as their secret sauce. For example, and we'll talk about this, Roblox. Jerry Lee, welcome to the show. So good to have you with us.
Super excited to be here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I'm the founder of Gradual and ELC, and the way we have been exploring the relationship between community and also companies we find it's very fascinating. I think every company essentially is a community with employees, users, investors, and partners, etc. So super excited to be here.
Every company is a community. Wow. How would you, if I would ask you to put this into a tweet, how would you describe the relationship between community and business?
Yeah, I think business, the way we have been running business has been almost the same for the past maybe 100 years. And so company tends to see themselves as the center of the universe, and they pull in resources and people to do the thing they want to do and build the thing they want to build. But we want to flip that we believe that community is the center. So the business is the success of business is a byproduct of the success of underlying community. And this has been kind of validated by some of the very community-minded companies like Notion, Figma, Salesforce, Atlassian. So companies that have been investing heavily for building their community and supporting the people that are involved in their kind of ecosystem around a common purpose, and they tend to have a lot of power to reach out to people and be able to grow like exponentially versus linear.
Love that, Jerry. Business as a byproduct of community. Such a great segue to our next guest. And I'm just going to tell you all, if you thought you knew how to run a beautiful, high quality produced Zoom, join Office Hours. Think again, because Office Hours is, I would say, the coolest global talk show you've ever seen on your browser, on your Zoom app, all the while being a live collaborative experience that every day is being made from scratch by hundreds of people. That it just happens. It is a real community product. These people are media people from the highest echelons of broadcasting, like our guests. Some are just teachers getting started on virtual broadcasting. Some are audio engineers. Some are retired. Some just starting out. It's very heterogeneous, but everybody is there on Office Hours to figure out media and broadcast in the virtual. And when our guests started Office Hours in March 2020, that month is going to come up a lot, Alex. Just a week after I launched Remote Daily, you started Office Hours. And I think just a few days later, Robin started this group. We're all Pendennials. Alex did it because he knew that it was a chance. It was a unique moment to not only learn how to Zoom himself, but really help others to become so good at virtual experiences that they won't disappear after the pandemic. The 99%, he says, they miss out. The physical, the in-person misses out on 99% of their audience because they haven't figured out virtual. He's here to help. And today, office hours is not only happening daily, 1,200 times now, I think, in a row. It also spun off other various community-driven shows and basically exists 24/7 as a hub for the broadcasting and media tech community with thousands of members. Alex, Lindsay, welcome to the show. So good to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
The godfather of a huge community that just came together over the last couple of years. So opening questions to you, Alex. First of all, how can we look as cool on Zoom as you do? And the second question, can you, and you did this in a prep call with me, can you draw the lines that show how community will accelerate versus content? You had this beautiful thing that you showed me. It's magic, by the way.
I think that a lot of times, one of the things that Jerry was talking about that I think is really important is that oftentimes the importance of community, and I've been working in community development for over 30 years now. It started physical, and then we just kept on building programs, and I've built other online communities in the past. And I'll argue that, we often say that content is king, but I'll argue that community is king and content is the honeypot. So you build content to bring people to a community, but the community is really the asset, and really what I would say is the stable asset. So if you look at community hasn't changed for probably, we were talking about the well and so on and so forth, but I'll go back to the caves. Like community was important for the last 100,000 years, because you didn't survive without it, and it continued to become important. So it's kind of stayed in this kind of stable blue chip kind of. It's always important. It's like real estate, So it's just there. It's always important there. Now the thing that's changed is that content started to become more important. So it was not very important for a long time. And then we had this thing called the printing press. And so it started to become more important. And then we had this thing called broadcast. And so it's become really, really important. But now with AI, with all the tools, with all the distribution, the value of each piece of content has peaked, and it's going down. it's going to be harder and harder and harder to build content that has perceived value. Now, what we're seeing here is this is a speculative asset, and this one here is a stable asset. So a lot of what we talk about a lot is how do we convert your speculative asset, being content, into a stable asset, being the community. And so, a lot of trying to build that out and really figure out a way to do that is really important, and it's what I've done for a long time. And what we found is that, what I found is that you can never outgive a community. Like if you keep on pushing knowledge, support, and process into a community, you're always going to get more out of it. Now, what I had built a community in the past, there are still people in that community 2 decades ago that I built that I still work with and that I'm still benefiting from that connection. And so that is, it was called Pixel Core, and it was out, in 2000, we started that. Currently, the reason I started this community was mostly that I had to figure out how to use Zoom. We've been doing virtual events I'd been working on virtual events for over a decade. And so when the COVID hit, I was just like, well, my first couple hundred events were just okay. like it was, and so maybe I can save people some time by just doing what we call office hours. I'm just going to do office hours. I'm just going to answer people's questions and try to move this idea forward, of connecting people all over the world. And so, which is what I really believed in. It's how I got into doing. My former company was the white glove team for Google Hangouts. And so we did, if you were a world leader or a actor or something else, we were the ones that did those shows. So I was like, I can save everybody some time if I do it. What I didn't expect was so many great people would show up. So all of these, so we had all these folks that were super smart and smarter about their individual thing than I was. Our community has really been completely organic. So basically someone said, hey, it might be easier if you don't have to read all the questions. And so then we had a reader. It might be easier if you don't cut everything in Zoom. So then we had that. It might be easier if we had somebody else do this. And really everything in office hours is generated because someone said, I want to do that. And now we have a lot of people volunteering, that are part of this. It's a 501c3, so we made it, we built it out that way. And so it's been, so we've kind of built it up, and it's just a lot of media professionals trading notes. I learn new things every morning, like literally every morning that it's a daily show, 7 days a week. And I learned something from either the producers, we call our people watching producers, because they're asking all the questions. We don't have a plan. Like, we just show up and go. The plan is we will get there and people will ask questions. And if they don't, we will end early. And so far we very rarely have ended early. I think we've answered now over 50,000 questions in the last 3 years. And it's a great way to, interactivity is the bond, it's how do we have that work? But it's really a show. It's a show, but the community is driven by the show. The panelists, there's 20 people oftentimes that are running the back end, 10 to 20 people running the back end, 10 to 20 people on the panel. And then there's all the producers, and they're driving the whole conversation. And so it's really a show that is by us, for us. I mean, the entire community comes together and we have a conversation together, and everyone's playing their part. And then we go back to what we were doing. It's in California, 9 a.m., time to go to work. So it's a great experience.
Would just recommend this to cut this here, Robin, just put it out there and say, this is how it works. This is how you do it. This is how community building works. Oh. And I could ask many questions now as a follow-up, Alex. One has already been answered in the chat, because your community is not only on office hours. They're here in the room with us right now. Dennis and Chad, I think I remember them from office hours, just told us how you did the magic with drawing on the camera, called a telestrator. This is a word I have never said before. Is that
made popular by John Madden? So it's an app that I'm developing with someone actually that I met in office hours, and so we've been developing this drawing app that makes. I've had some version of this for a decade. It's just that Wansi Robles, who wrote this version, made it much better. So anyway, it's just a little telestrator.
Of course, the other question is, when do you get your actual work done? Because you're on every single show. Now it's 1,200 in a row. You just told us in the green room that you're going on vacation, taking a Starlink with you so you can broadcast from the beach. When do you get your actual work done, Alex?
I get done at 9. I mean, I do a little bit more in the morning. Then I go and I switch jobs. I manage really high profile live events, and so I do that as soon as I finish this. That's why it's so early in the morning, 7 a.m. Well, for me, it's 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's because at 9 a.m. I have a couple other meetings that we kind of keep organizing what we're going to do in the future. So really about 10 a.m. I usually shift gears and I go to work and try to figure out how to broadcast.
So here's one more learning for you. If you want to be a community builder, you have to get up early. And Alex, I want to thank you so much for being here. Just a tremendous learning curve for me to be part of office hours and now to just listen to you. And I don't want to spare our third guest today, who brought a little bit of a basic introduction to community building, but also to her own platform before we go into the roundtable. She is someone who transitioned from the world of finance, and we're talking Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, EY, into the social business software space. That was over 30 years ago. So she has really been there. As Alex said, way back when, there were very few people starting to build online communities. And she has built Carii, a software that allows communities to connect and communicate around the world while retaining private ownership of content. Totally Web3. She has also become a thought leader for community building long before the pandemic. As I said, featured in media outlets around the world. And when Robin met her for the first time, Robin told me at a UN meeting, she said, I get the best ideas from my users. I guess we just heard that from Alex as well. So keep your questions coming in the chat while I say hello and welcome to Denise Hayman-Loa. Denise, it's an honor to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Felix. And thanks to Robin and everyone for inviting me. This is really a great event, and I'm looking forward to all the conversations.
Yeah, we heard a little bit about the how from Alex, and we heard a little bit about the relationship from community to business from Carii. But we haven't talked about this word community with you. And this is what I would like to do with you, because I hear community now all the time. It's really weird. Like, I hear it when I buy diapers for our daughter. I hear it when I buy soda. I hear it on my airline and on the podcast I listen to. Like, everybody is telling me that I'm part of their community. And I'm not. I find that so confusing. I'm not part of a diaper community. So what is actually a community in your own words? How would you define it? And I think you brought us a visualization even to
Yeah, I can just switch over to my little visualization. I actually did a little article recently too. I'll share. Let me go back to the, I have to share screen. And I did a couple of slides for everybody.
Yeah, I think your article is in the resource guide. And
okay, good.
Again at the end. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I'm going to do this as a slideshow, I think. Maybe not. I'm just going to leave it like this. Everybody can just go with me here. So Absolutely. When I started with community, actually my background is that I spent 28 years on Wall Street doing a lot of technology and customer relationships with big accounts. And then I moved to community and social business technology. And I just remember when I first started working on community, everybody was like, what's a community? Is it like a municipality? I mean, nobody understood what it was, and it was really an uncharted term. But it's really, as everybody has said, has become a huge theme in recent years, almost to the point of, to be honest, a little ridiculousness. Because as you said, Felix, everybody thinks you're in their community, and you're not in a diaper community. You really don't need to be in a diaper community. In the article that I wrote about the difference between go-to-market and go-to-community, where I talk about this concept of gathering or embracing your members, versus in go-to-market, which is more of a broadcast mechanism. One of my examples was about Chevy and about how we used to be a 2 Chevy family. And if we had been in a Chevy community, we'd probably still be a 2 Chevy family. But now we're a 0 Chevy family, because when we sold our 1 Chevy, they didn't come after us and say, buy another one. And when we sold our 2nd Chevy, we bought a GMC Terrain. So go figure. Same company, I think. But the point being that oops, there's music.
The point being, the music is here. That's great. The point being, Denise.
Yeah, the point being that really there are reasons for community. And when you build a community, it's about bringing together the people who are really connected by common purpose or interest. I think Robin's poll was very interesting because everybody was saying a lot of the reasons for people joining were for passion. And that's really purpose or interest is passion. And to be able to really communicate in a meaningful way around that conversation and to have that conversation keep going. So this whole concept of embracing, gathering your members, to Jerry's point about a business as being a community and a community being a business, they're really synonymous in a lot of ways. So I'll just quickly.
So just paraphrase here what Jerry and Alex said, Denise. Of course, Alex dug into his own profession to build this amazing community, and they're really connected by this common interest of learning about media and broadcasting, while Jerry's community in tech, over 8,000 members now, are connected by similar roles, by being engineers. And it's really interesting how you define this, because this has to be the basis, right? There has to be a basis around that. And what you're saying, the second point is to embrace and gather. This is also what Alex described, right? Community is not broadcasting to someone. Right. Community is not an audience. It means many-to-many communication. I just wanted to re-emphasize what you said, because I feel it's so important for this topic.
No, that's exactly right. And it really wraps up, what everybody's been saying. The other point I'd like to make, and since this is, VEG is all about events, and we really condone that, is that events and community go very well together. Somebody needs to be on mute. But events, we've been talking about elongating the event concept since the beginning since we first built the community platform. And it's all about, if you have a new event, you can really use that as an opener for creating a community, or events can be an integral part of an existing community. So the community can be the glue that kind of adds that ongoing value to the event experience or elongates the event. So one of the things some of our clients do is they do extended year-round mini events. So you have a big event once a year where everybody comes together physically, but then you can do mini events during the year and engage people through the community. And because you've got a community, you have that continuing contact and continuing networking. And it's also a great place to engage with the speakers and the experts, because how many times have you been to an event, you loved somebody who spoke, you don't know how to reach them. LinkedIn is great for certain things, but it's kind of, if they don't connect with you, they don't connect with you. But if you're in a community together, you can.
Denise and Alfred just put it in the chat. Every event needs to nurture a community. Every community benefits from a relevant event. It really is tied in with one another. Thank you.
Yes,
Alfred.
exactly. They're very symbiotic, to use a big fancy word. So this is just some screenshots of some of our community clients, how they use them. Like this one is one of our very successful communities is Made for You, which is a women's business networking organization based in Dubai, of all places. And so they're amazing how they bring all sorts of women together to network and do events together. And then this is a Sustainable IT is another one of our clients that's focused on sustainability and technology. They run a lot of scheduled webinars that are very formal. And then another one of our clients, Leadership Global, she uses the event functionality to promote other people's events. So you can either do an internal event or promote other people's events and bring people together that way. Then some of our other features, I mean, the point of community technology is really just an enabler. I mean, you have to have the people, you have to have the interests, you have to have the passion. And then once you have all those elements, then you enable it with technology. And so some of our clients are building from zero. Some of them have an existing member base that they're bringing onto the platform. So it just depends on, sort of what stage in development they're at. So Sustainable IT is doing a lot of research and presenting that on the platform. Then others are using our post technology, which is kind of like a social news feed. We have our chat technology, which is kind of like combining Slack and WhatsApp together. The really fun part and my favorite part of the platform is actually our gamification tool, which is a coin technology. We invented this way before crypto was a thing. And we've had this built into the platform all along. And basically every action a user takes, they get allocated coins. And every one of our clients are a branded site. So every client can have different levels of coins for different actions. And there's 21 different actions they can get allocations for. And the really cool thing, my favorite part, is that for the admins of the community, they can then go back and sort of reverse engineer that, and they can see where people are being active. So are we getting the kinds of behaviors we think we are? Are they posting? Or if we're an event-run company, are they attending events? Are they inviting other people? Are they posting? So that's a really fun element. And then obviously, as you can see here, we've already integrated with MetaMask, and there's other opportunities for token technology built into that.
Amazing how you turned your career in finance into inventing a community currency, Denise.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I love that. That's my favorite part. But so just, I know that you wanted to talk about what makes a community successful, and we can always come back to this slide, but, just real quickly, I mean, it's more than a website. A lot of people say, oh, I got my community on my website. No, you don't. That's really not engaging. So you really need more than a website. You need more than a Discord server, which a lot of people are doing community on Discord or on Slack. Discord and Slack Discord especially is very noisy. It's not secure. It's not branded. It's not private, not controllable. And also it's hard to use. And then Slack is Slack. I mean, it's a messaging app. You can use Telegram, you can use WhatsApp. People do. But it doesn't give you that overall experience that connects everybody together with the content and with the engagement and with the ongoing conversations. So ingredients for success, real quickly: community managers, champions, gamification, fresh and relevant content and posts. Always, you can make a mistake if you just let that happen. UGC is not going to solve everything. You have to have experts and thought leaders, so people involved that people want to come talk to. And then branding and security to inspire trust.
Wow.
So,
I mean, Denise, thank you. This is, we can maybe let this slide here just stand for a moment, because this is a lot of work and a lot of learning that it needs for someone to actually manage all of this. And we had some comments here in the chat, from Robin and Alfred talking about the profession of community manager in the digital space that is massively rising. There's more and more job postings. It is not very easy to do by an AI, maybe the content moderation, but everything else is hard relationship business. And also you talked about mistakes. And this is actually a segue to my next question. Robin just shared in the chat, the Veg group failed at building community. I think 99% probably fail at community building because it is so much work and because it relies so much on people at the center, as you pointed out here. So while we are switching over to our panel, I wanted to throw this question to you, Denise, and to Jerry and Alex, because some of us, and I'm sure this includes many of you in the room here, myself included, have tried and failed building a community. So I would love to hear advice from all three of you, for everyone out there who is like, I want to try this again and I want to make it better. What are the biggest mistakes one can make building a community? Maybe each of you can name 1 to 3. And Denise, I would invite you to go first and then invite Jerry and Alex to join us on the stage. What are the biggest mistakes one can make building a community?
Well, one is, I think, thinking that everything's going to happen just magically. That when you bring people together, they're just magically gonna interact with each other. So that's a mistake. Then I think it's also a mistake not to have multiple people, multiple voices. So while you should have 1 or 2 community managers, you should also have multiple voices. So you should, you don't want people don't want to hear from me every single day. I mean, just like Alex said, he's got a team of people, and if he's not available, other people, can be hosts. Same kind of thing. You want multiple voices. And then I'm just looking at Robin's comment. And then, the other thing is really incentivization and ongoing, it's kind of silly, but even though I know how the gaming, the coin system works in our platform, I still get a kick out of, oh, look, I got 100 coins. I mean, that's the silliest thing in the world, but it's just human nature. And I think incentivization and the occasional pat on the back. Good job, Felix. You're doing great. Thank you for being you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with telling people they're doing a good job. So those are my 3.
So incentives, gamification, but the many-to-many communication that you mentioned first, I think is such a crucial point as well. And I want to bring the 2 builders up to join us, Jerry and Alex. Jerry, what do you think? What are the biggest mistakes one can make building a community?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake I personally went through myself through our community is that trying to keep everyone happy and try to cater your community to almost anyone, or even just a niche community, like say 10,000 people, want to cater to everyone. I think that's if we do that, eventually everyone will feel irrelevant and they will be less engaged. So personalization, understanding who they are, what they want is really key. The other point I would mention is, I think what makes community magical eventually, after looking at a lot of communities, been talking to a lot of folks, is that I think community is magical in the sense that there is a sense of willingness from contributors or organizers. They're willing to help, they're willing to contribute without expecting anything for return. Just a willingness to do that differentiates a great community versus an audience. Because a lot of companies or a lot of corporations want to build a community. So I do this for you. I expect you to become our customer. I expect you to give something to us. So, and people are smart. People can feel that. And that once people start to feel this is a transaction, it's not a community. So there has to be a willingness to just contribute. Totally fine if I don't get anything back from this. I just love the community. This is what I want to do. So I think that really sets a great community apart from just a regular average community. I think that's really important to have that intentionally.
Alex.
Yeah, I've learned over a couple of communities to do a couple of things that I do pretty quickly. One of the problems as Reddit's finding out right now is, and any third grader can tell you, is that you can't change the rules in the middle of the game. So when you think about a community, you want to think about some of those rules that you want to have in the community and get a code of conduct. It's more than just a little thing at the top of your Discord or your community platform. It is this is what we're going to do. And there's a couple things that I do very quickly that you have to do at the very beginning because you can't do it in the middle, which is that I require full names, like first name, last name. You can't talk. Now I do use Discord. I mean, we have 2,000 people in Discord that are, trading back and forth. But I'm not going to listen. You can't post until you put your full name in. Now you can make up that name, but what we find is that people won't make up a fake name. They'll use an avatar name, but they will not make up a fake name. And so they'll get frustrated with it, but they will do it, or they won't, and then they're not in the community, and that's fine. So the other thing we recommend is that people put pictures up of themselves. This helps create accountability within that system. Another thing that we do is that we keep a pretty clean conversation. So no swearing, no swearing, no, we're very sensitive to the fact that we have a global community. There's a lot of people with a lot of backgrounds, and we're all going to be conscious to what those are. And we're a heavy-handed community in that area. And so, not even kind of near the edge, just stay in the middle. There's no reason for us to have that in the conversation. It's not necessary. The other things we take out, unless you are talking about religion and politics, we forbid it. unless if your community is about religion and politics, then talk about it. But we don't talk about politics or religion because it's a really quick way to sever people from each other. They start seeing what's different rather than what's the same. So we get rid of those things pretty quickly. Those are the first things to just eliminate for us, and that stabilizes a community pretty well. The other thing is that as you start the community, I've learned to create what I call a high friction, member acquisition, which means that I don't actually want to make it easy for you to join the community. So for a long time for our Discord, you could watch our show, but you had to be in the meeting at 6:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for 10 minutes to get a link to get into the Discord like 4 years, and so it was very hard. That meant that people who got there were committed to what they were doing. And then you can slowly ease that up and make it more available, because what you're doing is you've now built this solid core. You want to think of it like the core of the earth is like iron, because you have people who care about it that are all in there, and we've all built what we're going to do. Now we can start adding more things onto it. But if you allow that to grow too quickly, it becomes too porous, and then it cracks, and so you want it to be super, that core community and that culture. You want that to be super, and it takes time. And the reason that we do something every day is because we're able to evolve 7 times faster than every week and 30 times faster than every month. So so where we are now for 3 years is where we would be in 20 years.
Did I just lose Alex, or was this the same for everyone?
No, we all lost Alex. I
Okay.
have to say, it does my heart just a little good because he's so good at
The
everything.
last couple of communities to do.
You were
we
just
lost you. Yeah.
we lost you for a few seconds, Alex.
Lost me for a few seconds.
Yes.
It's interesting. I don't know where I was when you lost me.
That's all good. I think you brought up so many great points. I have a hard time even paraphrasing them, but I think we now learned from the three of you about that people have to invest without, like, as you said, Cherry, just giving. We have learned about putting up walls. Alex, I tried to join your Discord and I was always late for months. And we learned about that you have to, gamify the experience and look at champions at the center from Denise. So already great ways to avoid mistakes, I shall say. And Alex, I have a follow-up for you, because you told me that you built a huge paid community prior to your current one. And I understood that you didn't really like that fact a lot. And now you told me you invested a lot money actually in the community that you have now, not into salaries, but mostly into technology. So what I'm wondering now is, let's say we have a nice community, but as Alfred also put in the chat, we have to keep the lights on. Where's the money in community building?
Well, I'm not trying right now. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that communities benefit you. So for me, I run live events. So having people available all over the world that can help me make that actually happen is very valuable to me. Learning, being able to see all the new things that are coming in are very valuable to me. Being able to, there's a lot of things that are, these companies and everything else that are building out. So money is not the only thing that I value. And so, a lot of it we manage with sustainability. That's what we're really looking for. And so there are ways to make it more sustainable and allow us to grow. The first step was to allow it to really be about people's effort, not about their money. So what I really wanted was people to be involved in the community. And we have about, I don't know what the exact number is, but it's over 100 people that are involved in making this whole thing work. Like, I don't do a lot in the community other than show up every morning to do the talk. There's a huge group of people that are making things go, and they're putting enormous numbers of hours in, and that's more valuable to me than money, in this area. Now there are places, now we have to look at, okay, we now want to expand. So now we look at allowing members to contribute, which we will probably do somewhere in the future, allow corporations to contribute. Again, we're a 501c3, so our situation's a little bit, different from that perspective. But we benefit a lot of, we have companies that will ping me and just go, I think you might have talked about our product. Like we have people who show up in our meetings because they suddenly saw this huge surge in sales that they didn't understand where it came from. So there's a lot of other benefits there. We do think that in the future we'll be doing classes, a variety of other probably events, virtual events. We're built around virtual events now, or digital events. And so we'll probably be doing more of those. So it's not that it will never generate its own revenue. It's just that it needed a lot of time to gestate. And I joke with my wife. She thinks I'm spending a lot of money on this, and I'm like, it's my boat. Like other people have boats, I have a community. So it's like, I'm working on the sales, working on the bits and pieces, and it's the thing that I enjoy. That outside of hanging out with my family, it's the thing I enjoy the most is hanging out with this incredible. I've never had a lot of. I'm not a real extrovert. I know it seems crazy. I'm on a show all the time, but this is my my friends that I hang out with all the time, because we have a Zoom open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And so if I'm driving and I have 4 hours and I just want to chat with people, I just open it up and start talking. We start talking about stuff.
It's the most sustainable cruise ship in the world, Alex. It's all yours. Exactly. You built it. I wanted to ask Denise and Carii if you have any thoughts that you wanted to pitch in about community and business. I think what Alex just said pointed back to Cherry's point on when you have a community, business generates itself in a way, but maybe you have other ways of monetizing when you think about community and community building as a profession.
Yeah, Carii, do you want to?
Yeah. So we found there are many different ways we can monetize community if you're ready. So I think, but before that, it's important to be patient and adding a lot of value. But I think community, what we find the most powerful is that community is essentially you are serving a group of people, have a lot of things in common, and you will find that everyone in the community initially take our community, for example, the community of engineering leaders, the CTOs, VPs of the world. Initially, people come to us because they want to learn about people management. Like they were engineers, they don't know how to write the code, but they not necessarily know how to manage. And that's hard to learn. And sometimes feels very lonely. So you need to get, a group of people to compare notes. So initially, people came to us because they want to learn about engineering leadership, how to transition from an engineer to a manager and to a VP and to, every step along the way, basically. But over time, when there's more, as you start building trust and demonstrate value, people start to ask about other things, like how do I find the next opportunity? How do I find a coach? How do I find the right tool to bring to my team? So there's a lot of need that are unmet from those people, and there will be people that can meet their need, but they don't see the dots. They're not connected. So we found a really exciting model that if you can understand who each of your members are and what they need, and correspondingly find the right partner to meet the need. And you facilitate a lot of value exchange, right? And once that happens, then that's a great monetization model. Mm-hmm. So you can turn that into an ecosystem that you have a set of needs from your members. You've identified them, like looking for a job, and looking for coaching opportunities, looking for tools, and looking for other things, and correspondingly find the right partner to bring in. And that's a fantastic way to grow. And it's fantastic. Multiple. Yeah.
So the vetting, the matchmaking, and I think we can go from ROI, return on investment, to ROO. I think you told us that in preparation for this call, return on opportunity. That is where the business is. I want to go and transition to questions with a special surprise. Before we do that, Denise, would you like to add something to what Carii and Alex just said?
Yeah, real quickly. I mean, we have a number of clients who use our monetization tools. So it could be memberships, it could be charging for events, it could be, we have a coaching model in the platform where coaches can hang their shingle, and when they charge for their time, the site gets some percentage of that. the coin technology, of course, we're going to be, with a couple of our clients, we're doing token gating, and we can start to see some barter situations going on with the token gating. So there's a number of different ways to generate revenue for the site, which is usually our clients, and then for members internally within the site. So I would agree with everything that Alex and Jerry said, and just, add on a little bit there.
One thing we haven't mentioned is white labeling the community. Jerry, I think you just did that for Roblox. So they're now using your platform as a white label and they're paying for it. Alex, I can also see many opportunities for a community like yours for corporations. You already touched on some of them, products being used and bought to actually buy into that. So for very large organizations, I think they're all going to land where you are eventually. And I now want to give you a little bit of glimpse into what we do at Remote Daily. We bring live music to every space that we go to because A, we're all starved for live music, and B, it's the most beautiful way of having experienced something audibly. Video conferencing is so much about audio, even more than it's about video. And we actually have amazing artists here in the room with us that I had the chance to work with for almost the entirety of the pandemic. Eleonora Dubinsky and Dario Costa-Teich, both based in New York City. If we could have Eleonora and Dario on the spotlight for a second. I reached out to them early in March, and ever since we have been working together. Robin, would you allow for a quick interlude so everybody can put their questions in the chat?
Yes, but I would like to share. I now know Dario. I met Eleanor and Dario through you during the pandemic, and I think the two of you met each other during the pandemic, yes? I think you might have been couch surfing when the world closed down.
Just a couple of months before.
So with that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for making the time for us. Love you, all of you, and interlude.
Put your questions in the chat. Here are Leonor and Dario for you.
And as we get into our music, we're going to show you what we do at the beginning of our sessions. We do a sound check before we go live. And since we are popping in, I think it would be wise to demo our sound check as well as our music. So why don't we show you what that looks like? Felix, you want to lead us? And we'll...
Eleanor, you're still a little quiet, so I would recommend for you to go up. Dario sounds perfect to me.
So we have a lot of things we can adjust in our audio settings, so you can tell if we're quiet now.
Sounds brilliant.
Is it getting louder? Is it loud enough?
It is getting louder.
The guitar is loud.
Alex.
Your voice is a little low.
My voice is low. Now I'm singing. How does it sound? How does it sound?
It's better.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna play one of our favorite songs to play. It's called Swing Thing. It's an original song, and I think it's got a community vibe to it. How about you, Dari?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. I got this thing. Got this swing, all over my body, all over my body. We got this thing, got this swing, all over our bodies, all over our bodies, yeah. Running after your mind, oh, losing precious time when you're in a bind. Guess what you find when you get your rhythm? Go on and get that rhythm. Put it in your feet, put it in your hands, put it in your smile. Bring it to me and I'll put it on file. Shake off your stress, embrace the mess, turn that no into a yes. We're gonna flow, release, let it go, let it go, let it go. Come on now, what the future holds, nobody knows. So from head to toe, oh, come on, swing, let us swing, let us swing. We got this thing. We got this swing, all over our bodies, all over our bodies. You got your thing, feel that swing, feel it in your body. Come on, you gotta put your hands together out there. That's right, I see some people dancing. Woo! Let the light come down into your shoulders, into your hips. Swing them right, swing them left, swing them right, swing them left. Turn on the radio. Hey, it's your favorite show. Whether you're moving fast or slow, feeling high or low, you can still swing come on now, let it go. What the future holds, nobody knows. So from head to toe, oh, oh, come on, swing, let it swing, let it swing. We got this thing. It's got that swing, 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 all over our bodies, all over our bodies. You got your thing. Feel that swing, swing, swing. Feel it in your body. I said feel it in your body. Oh. Got this thing. We got this swing, 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 all over our bodies, all over our bodies. You got your thing. Feel that swing, swing, swing. Feel it in your body. I said feel it in your body, feel it in your body, feel it in your. Feel it in your soul. Yeah, yeah.
Eleanor and Dario, applause. If you want to unmute yourself and shout a yay, you're invited to do so now. Thank you guys.
Yay.
Thank you guys. This was a little gift from the Remote Daily team. And thank you, Eleanor and Dario. I posted eleanordubinsky.com in the chat. This is the gateway to reach out to these guys. They have been playing so many virtual performances. I can't even count with us. Must be in the thousands now. And they're the best. So thank you guys for being here, for joining from New York City. And let's go back to the questions. Eleanor and Dario, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And I want to go to the question that came up from Laura earlier in the chat. I'm just going to scroll up here a little bit about diversity in communities. Jerry, Alex, Denise, Laura Thompson was asking, what is the panel's observation on diversity in communities if the community is not intentional about being sensitive to differences? It can quickly become an exclusive club and start to be just one note. Any thoughts from you guys on this? I know, Alex and Jerry, you work in male-dominated industries, so I'm sure you have a thought or two about this, but Denise as well, as a female leader.
Yeah, well, I can jump in. I mean, we're very lucky that a lot of our communities are actually women-led and women-run. So the Made for You is one example. Global Leadership is another example. But we have a bunch of them, and we're very focused on diversity in general, obviously, even my background, and also our team is very diverse, and so it's an important element, and it also, the community has to be sensitive to that, because you could easily shut people out without intending to. So I just, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Seeding the community with the right diversity, the right culture in the beginning is really important. So one of our investors, the first investor into Azzy, and Azzy has been very intentional very early on to seeding the right community and making sure that not just the community, also the team focus on diversity. That sets a really good example, and other people, when they join, they're going to follow, going to be influenced by the culture. But if you would start with a not diverse community or team, and that's hard to change.
Yeah, it's always a challenge, and especially in our industry where it's very, very male dominated. You know, I think that, for instance, our daily show, I think, is more of a picture of the past, because a lot of us are people who have a lot of experience, and when we were doing it, we were what was there, you know. And so I think that, but we work pretty hard on it, and we're doing a lot, not not only with the basic, the basic diversity of those things, but also looking at accessibility. So we're spending the next 7 weeks, for instance, figuring out how to broadcast for accessibility, which we don't know how to do. So we have ASL, we're partnering with ASL partners, captioning, all the other things, and figuring out how to piece all those things together into a full broadcast. And we're working with a lot of folks from, and Laura Thompson, who asked the question, is spearheading that within our community of figuring out how to make sure that folks that need accessibility are also part of that conversation. So it's definitely something that that we focus a lot on trying to figure it out. Like I think part of it is making it safe, and so the first step is making it safe and making that which we work very hard on, and then B, taking on how are we going to step into that each time and experiment with it and know that it may not be perfect at the beginning, but we're going to keep figuring it out.
Wow. I want to thank you all three for being such amazing resources. I've easily spent 2 hours with each one of you, and you took the time to be here together to give a little glimpse into what you're doing. Frederick just posted it in the chat. I have to jump to most likely a much less fun Zoom now. And I don't want to hold everyone who is here with us a little bit over time. I want to thank you guys very much. For everybody who has their camera on, maybe it is a good way to share some virtual glitter. It's actually really easy to do that. You just stretch out your hands, which is good anyway as a knowledge worker, and just make it drizzle so that everybody here can feel it. This is for you all, for our amazing guests today from all around the world. To you, Carii, Alex, and Denise. And Robin, I'm passing the mic back to you. Thank you for creating and curating this wonderful community.
Oh, I create and curate, but you make it happen. Once again, thank you, all of you, for being part of this community, which we have tried to love and foster. There are some extra resources and readings for you. Please write us and let us know what you're thinking about community. Laura, I want to hear the report from you on accessibility because it's important for all of us. Appreciate it. See you June 27th, where we have a pandemic remembering fest. Have a great month and good summer.
Thank you, Robin. And I can only invite you all to switch on your microphones and thank Robin and our amazing guests today. It was an honor to host. Thank you, Denise, Alex, and Carii, and thank you, Robin. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Gigi.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.